Hey everybody, it's Brian here with Copper State Jeepers. Welcome back to our channel. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that we do a lot of trail runs. Well, one of the things that we do, because our club is open to everybody at every skill level, we get a lot of beginners. And those beginners ask us some basic questions. And one of the main things that keeps coming about is, should we air down? Should we not air down? What do we air down to? And then how do we do it? And how do we air back up? And people ask us, myself and Jeff, they ask us all the time, what do we use? So this is not a sponsored advertisement or a solicitation. I'm just going to share with you what I pulled out of my Jeep and what I use on a regular basis and why I do what I do. So the first and foremost is airing down. Now every tire is going to be different, every trail is going to be different, so I can't tell you what exactly you're going to air down to, but at the time of assessment on this trail with the specific rig and setup that you have. But myself, I'm running Nitto Grappler MTs. They're 35s. I run them down between 12 and 20 PSI depending on the comfort in the feel and the type of trail that I'm using. That's just what I do. Now, how do you let air out of your tires? Well, there are two different things that we use. One thing that I use personally is Cody Brand. That's what I use, and again, it's not an endorsement, it's just what I use and I love them. You get these 4 little pins, you get 4 of these, they go right on the nozzle there, you turn it, you pull it, and it does all the air down for you, and they're pretty easy to calibrate. The challenge is if you want a PSI other than what they're calibrated for, that could be a little tedious, and if they fail, I believe in always having a backup, which I'll get to in a minute in my compressors here. So this is just how I air down my tires, very quick, very rapid. It's just put it on, pull a pin, wait, when it stops, it's done. That's what I personally use, and that's how I air down all 4 of my tires while I walk around and do other things, and then it's good to go. And again, calibration is easy to do once they're calibrated, but you're not going to do it live on the trail. It's something you do ahead of time. And if they fail, I always have something tried and true. This is just what I use, the ARB recovery. This is real easy. You screw this on, pull it, and it's got a gauge, and then you can air down manually very quickly and rapidly to the exact PSI that you want to. So now you've aired down. Now you've got your tires to the PSI that you want to run for the trail. You run the trail, all is good, and then you get home. Well, what do you use for a compressor? Now, there's a lot of other brands out there, some little cheaper brands, and some of the, let's say, more expensive, well-known, famous brands that are very, very, very expensive and everywhere in between. So this is just what I use. So I have 2, and there's a reason for that. Number 1, if one fails, because it can, and it has. If one fails, I always have a backup. And number 2, because the types of runs that we do, we always have some newbies, we always have some beginners that do not have compressors, so we have to have extra just to help those other guys out. So that's also another reason why I personally don't have one mounted on my vehicle, because I think that's really cool and awesome, but it's very hard to take that and drag it over and walk it over, to another Jeep somewhere. So I like to have more than one unit. So the 2 that I use, this is the Smittybilt. This is the 150i Smittybilt. I think I paid like 120 bucks for it. Tried and true, works like a workhorse. If you know a little thing about what we do, I wheel at least 2 to 3 times a week. So I'm airing up and airing down, not only my rig, but 2 to 3 others at a time. So this thing gets used, and it gets used a lot. After almost a year and a half, almost 18 months, this has not failed me, not even once. It is tried and true. So I definitely recommend the Smittybilt. I think I bought it from his Extreme Terrain a year and a half ago for like 120 bucks. It's this 150 PSI. Just plugs it right into the battery connectors, positive and negative, and then you're good to go. Now, as far as this little guy here, this is the Pittsburgh Harbor Freight. Best warranty ever, by the way. It breaks, you get a new one. I mean, the good news and the bad news, so it's an honest review about it. I've had multiple fuses and multiple motors pop on this. In 3 years, or I'm sorry, in 18 months, I've replaced 3 of these. So this is my 3rd one in 18 months that is actually broke, not just a fuse change. But with that being said, it's a great warranty and it's a good backup, and it actually holds its own compared to this. And considering how often I use it, and considering it's Harbor Freight, and it was like 60 bucks or something like that. It wasn't very expensive, half the price of the Smittybilt. It does its job, and it does it very well, and it's smaller, lighter, and more portable. So I use this Pittsburgh 12 volt 100 PSI air compressor from Harbor Freight. Now, what I do personally in my rig, if I'm by myself or if I'm, airing up my own vehicle, I put two at a time, I'm done, and then I've got 2 compressors that are free to help other people. But that's what I use to air down, and that's what I use to air up. Hopefully this video gives you some insight and helps you if you're thinking about buying something. I'm not promoting or disrespecting any other brands, not even just to say neutral. It's just I can only give you what I personally use. It's just a personal what do I do. But then the other thing, which goes without saying, these things get freaking hot. We're in Arizona, it's 115 degrees. These things are hot to the touch. Always wear gloves, have gloves on you when you're handling these. But hopefully you found some value in this. Hopefully this answered a lot of your beginner questions, or if you're not a beginner and you have a different experience or a different story, please, in the comments down below, let me know what you guys use. What do you guys use to air down and air up? Tell me in your comments, and we'll do our best to respond. And if you got a better setup for me, I'm happy to explore it. If this helped, I'm hoping that it did, and you enjoy our content, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and then follow us on all of our social media, Instagram and Facebook. Thank you. Thanks for watching, I guess. Have a good rest of your day.